Hello, Rama Pupodu. Hope all are good, healthy, feeling relaxed, peaceful, and happy always. Now let's continue with chapter 6, part 3. How God feeds. The sadhus proceeded until they reached a village, where they stopped in the temple of Maruti. Their rule usually was to be satisfied with one meal a day. During the nights, Ramcharan Das will take only light eatables when available. Almost every village in Maharashtra, for that matter in India, contains a temple and a rest house near the temple. During this travel, they invariably spent their nights either in the temple or the rest house. They started on their journey always in the early hours of the morning. At noon next day, they were approaching a village where they would have to make their midday halt. Remember, hinted Ramdas, that we are not to beg our food. Leave the question entirely to God. Let us simply go to a temple and remain in it, engaged in the repetition of God's name. Leaving the village, they entered a temple of Vittal and took their seats on the veranda. Time was close upon 12. A visitor to the temple, seeing the sadhus, asked, "Why are you sitting here idly? It is time for the midday meal. Go to Brahman locality where you can beg for your meals." Ramdas did not reply, and Ramcharan Das was also silent. The man walked away. Half an hour passed. Ramcharan Das exhibited by his looks that he was growing septic. About 10 minutes later, another man came and put them the question, "Have you had your midday meal?" Ramdas replied in the negative. "How do you manage to have one?" was his next query. "The Lord sees to it," was Ramdas' quiet reply. The words seemed to have gone home. "The Lord you speak of bids me to take you to my house for meals. But there is one difficulty. I belong to the tailor caste. I don't know if you are willing to take food at my hands," he said. "You are the Lord himself in the eyes of the sadhus, so there can be no objection," rejoined Ramdas. "I am coming presently," he said, and disappeared only to return soon with a water vessel and a rope. He took the sadhus to a well and gave them a bath. Then he led them to his house, which was situated a few yards from the temple. They were welcomed by the tailor's wife and children with immense joy and kindness. With great love, the family served both with a sumptuous meal. They left the house and, returning to the temple, took rest for some time. Then they started again. On the way, Ramdas queried Ramcharan Das, "Don't you believe it was God himself who fed us with such love?" Ramcharan Das was not in a mood to talk and kept silent. The day passed. Another day came. At midday, they found themselves in another village. Here again, they stopped in the local Vithoba temple. The sun had passed the meridian. Time flew swiftly, and it was nearing 1 o'clock. There was no sign of food. Ramcharan Das was getting impatient and restless. "Swamiji, Vithoba is very slow this time. I am afraid he has forgotten us altogether." "Give up all thought of food, Ram. Simply remember him. Let us submit to his will," exhorted Ramdas. Waiting for some time more, seeing nothing forthcoming, Ramcharan Das put in that he would prefer to have a nap, and laid himself down. But while hunger was keenly gnawing at his stomach, where was sleep for him? He was now and again lifting the cloth from over his eyes and peeping in the direction of the street. Every moment he looked for the coming of food. It might have been 2 o'clock when Ramcharan Das assumed sitting posture and cried out, "Swamiji, Swamiji, after all, Vithoba is coming. Behold, there he is in the street running to us." Yes, a dark-skinned man was hastening toward the temple. Coming directly to the sadhus, he inquired if they had meals, as though he did not know it. On receiving a negative answer, he left them and returned in a few minutes with 2 plates of food. Placing the plates before the sadhus, he urged them to eat. Urging, of course, was not necessary. They commenced meals forthwith. Just then, a kirtan party of about 10 also entered the temple. They brought with them cymbals, mridang, and veena. They sang choice hymns of Tukaram and danced as the meal progressed. What did all this show? God was not satisfied in giving them merely food for the body, but had also arranged for a spiritual treat. Such are the gracious ways of the Lord. That's all, folks. Let's see in the next chapter. Thank you. Bye bye. Rama Rama Popoda.